everybody. WhatAboutAmeobi here, bringing you a video that I've actually wanted to talk about since a couple things that happened on the forums the other day. Is TGC Tours a clique? That's something that's been levied against the community quite a few times I've seen, and I've only been around since November, so thought it'd be something interesting to get into as somebody who's a new viewer. For those that are interested, I do stream on Twitch every Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love to have you there. But for now, let's get into it. So first, we need to ask ourselves, what is a clique? So Merriam-Webster defines it as a narrow, exclusive circle or group of persons, especially one held together by common interest, views, or purposes. So I think the key there is narrow, exclusive circle or group. Exclusive basically meaning it's pretty much impossible to get into it. So let's look at that. But first, let's look at TGC Tours. What is TGC Tours? Well, TGC Tours basically serves two functions as I can see. It has a range of tournaments on the PGA Tour 2K21 game for all of PC, PlayStation, and Xbox platforms. And it's actually really cool how they have it broken down into different tours. So you have a Platinum Tour, an Elite Tour, a Kinetic Tour, and then you have a Challenge Circuit Tour that goes all the way down to L. So what's that? 4, 8, 12. That's 15 altogether divisions that you can play in. They have qualifying tournaments every week so that you can get yourself a tour card and get yourself on here. And that's basically how I found it. TGC Tours first came on my radar actually when Crazy Canuck 1985's video showed up on my YouTube recommended page. And I watched them, thought he was a good guy, liked some stuff he was talking about. He was designing courses, which I thought was pretty neat, and I kind of already knew that that was a possibility. But at the bottom of his screen, he had a ticker, and it said, basically, it talked about TGC Tours, and if you want to play at the #1 site, check it out. So I did. And that's where I started. I started by going to Q School in November. So let's look at my profile just to show you how long I've been around. So there's the TGC Tour site, and then there is the forum. And the forum is basically where the drama happens and where the idea of this being a clique gets put in. So if we look at the forum, and we look at, I've already got it up on my profile. I started on November 19th, 2020 with this account. Okay, and it's the only account I've ever had on here. Yes, that is how old I am. That is my birthday. Good for you to be able to see it. I've made 190 posts in that time. And if we want to look at some of the history, if we go right back to the beginning, which really isn't that long ago, how did I start posting? First post I ever made was in the CCI discussion thread because I think I qualified in J, and then made it up to I, and so on and so on. Okay, and so I was just posting about how I was playing. It wasn't until January that you see any of my video stuff come up. So yeah, a bunch of there was one conversation I got into about do we need to play the fast game to improve. That's a bit of a controversial topic. That's for another day. And there's plenty of videos out there. Respawn has a couple of good videos on YouTube about it. But if we look at January 3rd of this year, this is the first course review that I did. And this came about where there was a request for there to be there was a request for people to review or to judge the rookie design contest. They were short judges. I don't design. Well, I kind of do now, I guess, but I wasn't a designer then. But I've played golf for 30 years. I did play at a competitive level. I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of what a good golf course is. And so I offered to do it and started streaming and recording my playthroughs more for my own interest, more for my own benefit than anybody else's. I just felt it was easier to have a video out there for the designer to see what my thoughts were rather than me trying to write it all down. So that's kind of where I came from. Okay, and from there I've created a Twitch channel. I have a decent number of, well, decent for how old it is, number of followers, and so on and so forth. Okay, so is there a clique or a clique? To me, no. And the reason is this. I've been accepted. I've been accepted as part of this community. I'm still making posts. I don't know that I've really had much of any negative reaction to anything that I've posted. I've maybe had a couple of people disagree with me, but I've never had anybody basically go out of their way to say you can't be part of this community. In fact, it's been exactly the opposite. And the example that I'll give you is about 3 weeks into my Twitch streaming, I think I was at like 42 followers. And in this shout box here, I put that I was going live, and I just put something to the effect of quest to affiliate or something like that. Because 50 followers on Twitch lets you get to affiliate, which lets you then allows you to have bits and subscriptions and stuff like that. So I just put it in. I wasn't asking for anything. It was like a kind of a title for like a theme or something for that broadcast. And one of the old school, has been here forever, members made a point of putting out a post on his Twitter that has 1,400 followers, and using the TGC Tours Twitter handle that has a ton of followers, and posting the shout box too, saying, let's get this guy to affiliate. And at that point, I had 42 followers in 3 weeks, right? So what, it's about 2 a day? Well, that one day I had 18 people follow me. So that's 9 times what a normal day would have been. All because this one person, he knows who he is. And if you guys want, I can say, but I don't think that's the important part. It was somebody, a respected member of the community, went out of their way to help me get to affiliate that day. Is that how a Clique works? I don't think so. Okay? I don't think that's how Cliques work. So the other thing that I thought was interesting to look at is if we look at Crazy Canuck. I don't have a bad word to say about Crazy Canuck. I think he's a good guy. I enjoy his content. Haven't had a huge amount of interaction with them, but I mean, he's been around forever, and everybody in this community knows who he is, so I wouldn't expect to have a huge amount of contact with them anyways. He started with the community on October 30th, 2014, so he's pretty OG. If we look at when TGC Tours was registered, it was registered on August 22nd of 2014. So Canuck's about as OG gets, right? So you're thinking then, well, and he's the global moderator, he's the head reviewer. You're thinking, okay, well, so he's the one that probably decides this and that. And you're thinking, okay, well, that's Clique, right? He's been around forever. It's only his boys. Well, and I should back up. Where does all this Clique stuff come from? Well, it comes from this part of the forum. Designers, the golf course, and especially completed courses, and especially courses not accepted. So that brings us to the second function of TGC Tours, which is they maintain a database of courses that you may want to play, and they have a criteria of what they consider to be a good course versus what they consider to be not a good course, or a course that they are comfortable putting in their database versus a course that they're not comfortable putting in their database. What is that criteria? Well, basically, as far as I can tell, and I'm not a reviewer and I haven't really ever had an actual criteria laid out to me, but from observing, it feels like TGC Tours is looking for courses that are realistic, in that courses that would make sense in real life. That's what they're looking for in the game. So the types of courses don't get accepted are courses like, I'm not going to name any courses. They're courses that have holes that have like 400 foot drops, or have 20-yard wide fairways that zigzag all over the place, or have 10-foot walls in front of the green. Stuff like that, where you wouldn't ever see it in real life, and it wouldn't be possible to have it in real life. Okay. And so that's the stuff they're looking at. They also look at things like blindness that wasn't intentional, and was the ground sculpted like it would be, and do the bunkers make sense? Are they in appropriate depth? Are they sculpted at all? Are the greens just all circles? And again, do they have some sloping to them? But is that sloping realistic? Because I've seen some where it's like this for like 10 feet of the green. So things like that. So they're what they're trying to do is there are thousands upon thousands of courses that are available in the game if you search within the game. The TGC Tours course catalog or course database, sorry, is just to help you find courses that somebody has looked at and said, yeah, this looks like a relatively realistic course that we feel like you'd want to play. And it's also the courses that they use for their tournaments. All right, and so they're looking at 4 or 5 courses every week that they need, because there's one for Platinum, there's one for Elite, there's one for Kinetic, and then there's one for the Challenge Circuit. So I guess 4. And then there's a True Sim, which I'm not sure if it's usually the Platinum course or if it's a separate course altogether. But they're usually needing 4 or 5 courses every week, right? Which is a lot of courses. So they're using that database in order to access that. And so a lot of this TGC Tours is a clique comes from people often who have had their courses not accepted, don't like the fact that their courses have not been accepted, and they kick up a fuss. And here's the thing. So again, on my end, I haven't designed any courses. I haven't submitted anything to TGC Tours for approval, but I've put out a bunch of videos. I've definitely given an opportunity for people to come at me and say, I don't like what you're doing. You're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about, that kind of stuff, right? And I haven't had any of that. In fact, I've had the exact opposite. I've had majority of any comment that I've gotten about anything I've put out has been positive. So why? Why have I been able to break this clique that other people don't seem to be able to? Well, I think it's very simple. This is a community. It has a group of people in it. Yes, there are people in here who have been here forever, okay? And they know each other, and they're friends, and they might know each other outside of the forum, and some of them have actually played real life golf together. They've spent time with each other. They've enjoyed each other's company, and that's something that's been here, right? And you would expect that in any community. The people that seem to have a hard time ingratiating themselves, that's not a bad word, sorry. The people that seem to have a hard time becoming a functioning part of this society, of this community, seem to be people who walk in and immediately just start shoving their opinions down everybody else's throats. They come in, they put a course in for example, they'll put a course in to be, they'll submit one for approval. It'll be not approved, and then they'll sit there and tell the reviewer why they're wrong, right? You're wrong about my course. My course is a great course. You guys don't know what you're talking about, etc., etc. Now, imagine if you're in real life and you walk into a room and you're brand new to this room. Nobody knows who you are. And all the people in that room know each other. And they're talking about something. And you walk in, nobody knows who you are, and you just start yelling. You guys are all idiots. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm the only one who knows anything here. Think to yourself, how would that person be? What would the reaction be to that person in that scenario? In fact, I'm guessing a lot of you guys have dealt with that, where somebody's come into an area that you've been in, and they've just announced they know what they're talking about. You don't. You're dumb. They're smart, right? And what's the typical reaction? It's not that they're going to sit there and say, hey, come on in. Tell us how wrong we are. I agree. We're morons. Come, help us see the error of our ways. Right? No. They're going to say, get lost. They might say it in slightly stronger terms than that. So how do you become part of a group in real life? Well, you walk into that room, you take the temperature of the room, you gradually kind of go up, introduce yourself, and you do a lot of listening, right? And you maybe ask questions, and you learn. And eventually, once you've done that, then you might say, well, geez, I see what you're saying there, but here's something I've noticed. And because you've come into it without just being a bull in a china shop, and you've listened and you've genuinely taken what other people are saying on board, people then are more likely to listen to you, right? And in here, it's the same thing. If you come into this forum and you start telling everybody how wrong they are, and you start telling them how they know nothing, and you're the smart one and they're the dumb ones, don't be surprised if you don't have a welcoming experience. What did I do? I came in. I played Q School. I made a few posts. I read a lot more than I posted. I looked at the courses not accepted feedback. I looked at all the other information that was on here, and I got a sense of, okay, this is what TGC Tours is. And I asked myself, is this something I agree with? Because if it was something I didn't agree with, then I wouldn't be part of it. So that's my other question. If you don't agree with what the criteria is of this community, why do you want to be a part of it? Why are you wasting your time telling everybody how wrong they are? Are you expecting that a site that's been around for 7 years now, well, 6.5 years, are you expecting they're all of a sudden going to go, oh, in the last 6.5 years, we've been doing it all wrong. I'm glad this person's come here to tell us that, so we can now have our site be done, or we can run our site in the correct way. Is that what you're thinking? Like, I don't get it. So, is there a clique? No, there really isn't. There's a society, there's a community, there's an established set of norms, there's an understanding of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And anybody that's new to this community, all you need to do is follow that, right? All you need to do is understand this is what the function of this community is. This is what we do. This is what we agree with. This is what we don't agree with. And then just fit into that. It's not rocket science. It really isn't. And if they accepted me as somebody who's only been here since November, just a little over 3 months, I think they can probably accept you too. But it's up to you to make people want to accept you. Those are my thoughts. If you have any questions, any comments, feel free to put them below. But I hope that helps people to understand that it's not a clique, and understand why, and understand here's what you can do to be a part of this community. Thanks. I hope you guys have a great day.